Welcome everyone to Notes with Jack. My name is Alan Fox, and I'm here with the 2007 National Theater Conference Person of the Year, Jack O'Brien.
Just lost a lot. 2007 this is sort of, I'm ashamed. I don't remember that.
Well, that's okay. That's why I'm here, because I'm going to go back through your whole history and remind everyone of everything you've ever done.
Oh, this is stupid. Okay.
All right, so let's catch people up if they're just tuning in. We've been doing 4 weeks thus far. This is episode 5. You've been working on Ghost from the beginning. We started with you around the table 4 weeks ago, and here we are. It's the day of the first preview, and you told me you got a great night's sleep, and I want to know how you're feeling going into this first preview.
Well, there are two things. The sleep is a different thing because, as you will find out, as our friends will find out as they get older, the sleep thing changes as you get older. It does. Apparently, you don't need as much when you get older.
Right.
Also, I don't know about you, but I'm at this stage in your life. But when I was your age, I could just go to sleep.
Yeah.
You just go to sleep.
Oh man, I'm waiting for. It's hard for me to stay awake.
All my relationships over the years,
Yeah.
would say the next morning, "What the hell is the matter with you? Good night." And they would say, "How can anybody do that?"
Yeah. Clean conscience.
Not necessarily. Anyway,
Right.
last night I was just saying to Jeremiah, my legal and emotional associate,
Sure.
that I worry about taking sleeping pills. I worry about
Yeah.
dulling myself, and
Yeah.
because of my condition, my heart condition, and my health, and being 85 on my way to 86, I take a lot of shit that I wish I didn't, but I take it, and it's working because here we are. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want to take more, and I think
No.
I think everything you put into yourself has a consequence in an odd
Totally.
way. Maybe
I got addicted to taking sleeping pills for a little while. Not the super strong ones, but I took way too many probably 5 or 6 years ago.
What did you take? What did you take?
Well, I started with, what's the one that's not melatonin but it's not prescription? There's like a middle one, because I know melatonin is, they say natural, but I scaled down to melatonin before scaling down to nothing.
I've always been a big believer in melatonin, and I think it works. I'm
Yeah.
very, very suggestible, and we both know this.
Yeah.
So if you say melatonin is good for you, I think,
Right. You're the king of the placebo effect.
I probably am. I
Yeah.
really probably am. I don't know I also don't know about gummies. I don't take gummies, and everybody says they're really good too.
You mean
But
like weed
yeah,
gummies?
yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. But
I don't either.
I hear it
I don't
helps.
either. I mean,
Yeah.
here we are at opposite ends of the spectrum, and neither of
Yeah.
us are doing any weed to speak of.
Right. No. Well, I had a real problem with a little sleeping medication called alcohol for a long time.
Oh yeah.
So I had to cycle off that one too. That was my sleeping medication for a while.
My best friend, yeah.
Yeah. All right, but anyway, so you got a great night to sleep because you just did.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, when you're working on a show,
Yeah.
very often there's a tick of sedentary sort of stillness where you can slip over the edge into sleep. But if there is a single identifiable outside stimulus thought, then it's 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
For me, it really is.
Mm-hmm.
And last night I didn't take anything. I turned the light on at 10:30, and I didn't. Usually I pee a lot in the middle of the night, get up, turn around, blah, whatever. I didn't stir till 4. Then I went right back to sleep, and usually I'm awake before 7. It was 7:30 before I opened my eyes. It's amazing. So I probably have too much sleep.
Well, that probably means you're pretty confident about the preview then, I'm guessing.
Well, it's a little programmatic, frankly, but they played the play last night.
Huh.
I mean, this is a very fascinating, challenging, amazing thing to throw yourself at. We don't do this a lot anymore, any of us.
Yeah.
I mean, in the theater, we like light entertainment. We like to be laughed around and at and with, and we like a little music, and we like no challenge at all. and we like behavior things. This is how I feel. I'm having trouble. I'm feeling challenged. I'm being triggered and all that shit.
Right.
But the great plays put you against something huge.
Yeah.
Starting with the Greeks, they really do.
Yeah.
And so I woke this morning and thought last night before on my way home, because I was letting the show go last night. I sat there, we took notes, we had a great note session. I have a rehearsal today, I have things to fix. I will have things to do next week. You know, confidence things, transitions, timing, blah, blah, blah. But I thought, oh, there it goes. It's now them. They're
Hmm.
now they're now beginning to agree with me that our solutions are feeding them, and now it's all about them. Now that's, with a musical, if you're working on a new musical, you never finish. You just open,
Hmm.
and here I go with Chuck going to London in the spring, and we're still working on it. We're still
Yeah.
changing it. New lines, we still can't get the opening of the second act right. But this last night, I thought, this incredible structure that this man did that I've always thought was talky and sort of opaque, and yes, probably great and awfully depressing. Now it seems like one of the most contemporary things I've ever seen.
Hmm.
That Mrs. Alving talks about the fear of truth, the fact that we inherit from our parents and other people ideas that we take as truth, and we know they aren't, and we're terrified to let them go. I mean,
Yeah.
that's right out of the New York Times today.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you, well, I mean, listen, we're opening up a whole can of worms, right? But it's for me, because I mean, as always, right? Whatever's going through your mind, I was usually cycling around in mine too. And that idea of why do you think we hold on to it for protection? I sometimes think we hold on to truths we know aren't true because we give up the responsibility of having to deal with the situation when we can sort of blame it on someone else. Does that make sense? Like when you willingly believe in something that in your gut you know is not true, you're sort of giving up the responsibility of having to deal with it.
We both intuitively know things,
Mm,
and we don't. I mean, the whole process of being alive, the experience of being alive and going through life and trying to, quote, make sense out of it or live a good life or do what you are supposed to do, it keeps changing.
mm,
And yes, I think you're right. I mean, I think sometimes you think, I think this is bullshit, but I don't have anything better to believe in at the moment.
mm.
And it's got me to Thursday. So I think I'll stay with it till Saturday and see if I'm okay, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I'm wondering, so I watched this play last night, and it's my work with theirs, totally collaborative, joyous investigation. Atypically, my designers, all of them first class, are always there all night long. That
Mm.
never happens.
Yeah.
That we're watching something that we think, what the hell is going on here? Um, and I thought to myself, why do we do this? Why? I mean, I'm struggling today with an anomaly. I do not know what it means. The president of the United States has declared himself, he just took over for Lincoln Center. What does that mean? What is that? What is that supposed to? What is that even for? I can't, as a person in the arts, I don't know how to deal with this. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, why do we go to the theater? And why am I looking at this massive, snarling knot of theme and pain and morality? And I think basically, as children, we love to be told a story. And I think as human beings, we try out ourselves in stories. I think I'll never know what it's like to have to give a poisonous dose to my child. I don't have any kids. And so I watch this woman whose child is begging for relief. And it tears me apart as the director. I'm there in tears watching these actors go through it. Why am I doing that? Does it, in fact, confirm something? Does it allow me a glimpse at another reality? It doesn't happen in a movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It only happens in the theater when there is someone in the space with you going through elation, joy, or terror.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I think it can happen in movies. Like I think we've had movies that we really connect to. Not all of them, right?
No, that's right. That's
But I
right.
but I do
Not
agree
as
with you.
intense though. Not
No,
in
and
not
I think it's a sign of a great work to be able to do that because what I haven't seen the play. I'm coming tomorrow night to see
I
it and
know.
I'm so excited.
I'm
But
so grateful.
but what I think about when you tell me, "Oh, there's a play about a mother and her child is begging for relief and she has to kill him." In some ways to me what I hear is metaphorically there's an untold truth that you have to tell, like you almost have to let down your child by revealing your truth, and they're begging to know the truth. I mean, getting back to this thing of, because to me all stories are about symbols, and so it's like that idea, that's why it's so cathartic, because we all know our parents in some ways have told us half truths because we feel it, and I don't just mean our parents, I mean the people in power above us, the
Teachers,
and we've all done that to other people
yeah,
because the truth can be so, we know that by telling someone the truth, sometimes we're going to kill them.
yeah.
But subconsciously, they're begging for it from us because they want to be set free. And I don't know, I just, and that's why I'm so excited to see it, because I do think you're right that culturally, in a lot of ways, we are begging to know the truth, and we also know it's going to kill us.
But the cool thing about this, you and me right now, is
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready for my friend to come and see this.
yeah, yeah,
And now, and we're having this pre-talk where I say, Alan, I don't know. I think we got a lot of it right.
yeah,
And I think you're going to see what I mean. But more importantly, I think you're going to see what he meant.
yeah,
And then tomorrow night, we sit separately in a dark place in different areas, and we both look at this and go through this. And we have to do this again. We have to have a scene
yeah.
where we say, I had no idea, or what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. And what I love so much about the arts, or, any kind of art, but particularly something like the theater, is I'm going to bring my whole life to the show tomorrow night. And you brought your whole life to the show. And you're going to get from it those parts of you that need illuminating. And I'm going to get from it that dark corner of me that needs illuminating. And so I will project onto it the half truths I've been told in my life and the half truths I've told. And you sort of do a similar thing in whatever way. And that's like why art to me is one of the most incredible things we have, you
But
know?
but here are these very interesting, articulate characters defending themselves,
Yeah, yeah,
saying, this is what I believe in, and this is what I think is right.
yeah.
And then somebody says, no, it isn't. And you think, and there I am in the midst of that.
Yeah,
Anyway.
yeah. No, it's
Anyway,
amazing. And what a gift to be able to do it. Right? What a gift
oh,
that's the life you devoted yourself to. And I feel the same way. And anyone that does anything on whatever scale, it's like what a gift to live in that space for a little while.
with really good people.
Yeah.
I mean, this cast is unbelievable. The designers are unbelievable. These are all people at the top of their game.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get that and sometimes you don't get that. But when you do, with great respect and appreciation,
Yeah.
and you watch them go there, it's just awe. But now I feel myself letting go.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Is a morning like this morning? I mean, it's sort of by sleeping well, it tells me a little bit, but a morning like this morning where okay, this is the last time I'm going to get to speak to them before an audience. Is it that feeling of sending your kid off to school? Like, is
Oh,
it that kind of thing?
even off the school,
All right.
off on a board.
Right.
on the ocean,
Right.
with no horizon there. Yes, that's what that's like.
Yeah.
And we've believed each other, we've tested each other. We've asked tough questions. There's no tiptoeing through this baby. And so we've trusted each other, we've held hands, and we've jumped.
Yeah.
And now the audience will tell us whether that's true or not.
What is the last thought you like to leave the cast with? Like, is there
Wow.
something usually you'll leave them with? Like, is there a theme or an idea that you always tend to like leave your company with before they do this first one?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. That's an interesting question. Everything is different,
Yeah.
and the makeup is different, and the journey is never the same. You try to make them safe,
Mm.
whatever it is, and we talk a lot about that
Yeah.
in the theater.
You've brought that up multiple times on this through the process of
Well,
protecting them.
well, now we have official people. We have a sensitivity. We have what do you call it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's for all those sex.
In,
It's
in,
all
in,
that sex you put in your plays. You got to get these people.
yes,
Right,
yes,
right.
intimacy coaches.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
And I have a lovely woman who's come in to deal with the safety issues when
Yeah,
they fall down, when they wrestle, whatever they're doing. We used to just do that,
yeah.
and people did get hurt. And now we have to make them safe. And one of the things you very often say at the end of the collision, "Were you okay tonight? Were you safe? Did you
Hmm.
feel okay?" So you can get hurt,
Yeah, yeah,
both physically and emotionally.
yeah.
Anyway, I'm
I've been
done.
I've been thinking I need an intimacy coach for my personal life, maybe. That's
Don't
you. You're
don't
the
don't look at me. No. That
Actually, I want to use that to pivot because tomorrow is Valentine's Day,
oh, I
right?
know.
I
I
know.
know.
Well, but here's what I wanted to do.
We don't have I don't have a Valentine, do you?
Oh no, I'll be your Valentine. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
there tomorrow night with you. You're gonna be at the
Oh
show tomorrow
yeah.
night, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll bring you a box of chocolate tomorrow. But I don't have. But let me tell you, I don't have good luck with Valentine's Day, so that may be a
No,
bad
I know.
sign.
No, no, it's not over.
That's true. Here's what I want to ask you though, because you're working with Lily and Hamish on this play, who are together,
A
right? I mean,
papa.
they're partners, right? And they have children and stuff.
Three children.
Have you done that a lot? I'm so curious about directing partners and or people finding partners in your productions. I'm just curious what that's like as a director trying to navigate that.
Well, beginning at the top with Ellis Rabb when he was married to Rosemary Harris, they were married for 10 years. They were a married couple. That was a complicated relationship because he was also gay, but he did love her.
Right.
And they did have a true marriage.
And
Um,
he was directing her?
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
often.
Right.
Or I was directing them.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh,
you know,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, Ellis went through a situation late in his life. He had macular degeneration, and so he had trouble with lights. And so he would ask me, as his former assistant and then a colleague, to come and help him do the lights
Hmm.
because he couldn't trust himself. Which is amazing. And
Yeah.
I used to do that. But Nancy Marchand and Paul Sperrer, they were a married couple. Um, Patricia Connolly had several affairs with people that she acted with. Oddly enough, a lot of theater people do.
Well, I was gonna say,
They do.
is that something because you can
You
understand why, right?
you
It's like
can.
it's a safe place to be very vulnerable and emotional, and you're, playing characters that are falling for each other, and oftentimes it can get really messy,
Well,
blurry.
also you're trying to do the truth,
Right.
and you're supposed to fall in love.
Yeah. So
And
do you let that happen when you see
well,
that start?
I don't have a dog in that fight.
Well, no, but I mean, like, does it? Because I'm curious. You're the director. Early on in this process, you see something happening. You're not dumb. You start to see it. Do you kind of watch it go, and that's okay, or do you try to say, "Hey, let's be careful because this is a 3 month run, and if 6 weeks in you guys hate each other, it's gonna be difficult." Or has that ever happened?
I think about it. Depends on how well I know them. No, I don't think. No, that's not my responsibility.
Okay.
I mean, and it's not yours either. As a
Yeah.
writer or as anything else. No, when I'm sitting here thinking in my lifetime, As You Like It, Rosalind and Orlando, they almost always have an affair.
Mm,
I mean, first of all, Shakespeare wrote with the character of Rosalind some of the greatest words about love ever written. And if you're a hot young man, sit on the other side of the stage, and she's there in her breeches looking good, how do you not fall in love with her? Now,
right.
let me tell you something. My first one, Trish Connolly, had an affair. Not They didn't marry with her Orlando. Debbie May and George Deloy at the Globe, when we opened the new theater, they met, married, are still married with two beautiful daughters. Jane Atkinson and Michael, oh God, forgive me, Michael. I just blanked on your name. Anyway, they met at the theater, at my theater. They're married. It's not unusual. Uh,
You're a matchmaker.
no, Shakespeare. I mean, Vanessa Redgrave,
Yeah.
who was her Orlando? They were married. You put that thing on you, and suddenly you're in love.
Well, then
It's
here,
weird.
well, but here's what I'll ask, right? And this is always, I think this is a debate you and I'll have for a year and a half. Does the part find you because you're about to go through that process anyway? Because I will
Mm.
argue that the actress and actor are both ready to have that experience when As You Like It lands in their lap. And
Yeah, okay.
they're the right person for the job, so they go on that ride with it.
The kindling is warm, is hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm sure that has something to do with it. If you're in a terrible place, if you're deeply depressed, or you've
Yeah.
just lost a child or a parent or something like that, you're not going to be available in the same way that as if
Right.
you're thinking, God, I'd like to get laid this week. I wonder if there's anybody around here, you know.
Right. Right. Oh, that's too funny.
Happy
Okay.
Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
right. That's so funny. No, because I was curious. I was like, man, I wonder if when you see it coming, you try to do anything in service of protecting the show, is what I was because that's like I figured, well, that's why Jack gets paid the big bucks because he gets to make sure the train doesn't go off the tracks. But
I don't get the big bucks. So
right,
let that go.
not yet.
No, not yet. It can't hurt.
Yeah.
If you see the sparks flying, you're I think you're very happy because you know that it's all going to work.
Yeah.
And I mean, nothing lasts forever.
Right. Right.
You know, you have no right to suddenly say, "Don't go here." With it, I mean, I've never loved anybody that I haven't learned from,
Yeah.
come away from it better than I went in,
Yeah.
even if I didn't have a very good experience, or even if I did not well as a lover. I
Yeah.
grew in love.
Yeah. No, I
So
100% agree.
I don't think, I think it's a part of the perk of this end of the spectrum, that we are constantly toying and playing with people's emotions and their triggers, and watching the sparks fly.
Yeah. So do you think it's
We're little gods.
well, I agree. I think it's interesting because I think by virtue of if I'm acting in something and there's an actress in something and we both get the part, Shakespeare or whoever wrote the play wrote it to where those two roles complement each other. They're going to go on a journey and both characters are going to learn. So
Mhm.
if you're the character that if you're the person that gets cast, you're going to go on that journey. And if you fall in love with that person, you're going to probably learn a similar lesson as your character in your personal relationship with that person, which is
Yeah.
what is where it gets blurry. And I think like what I was going to ask you too is like, and with the idea of Valentine's Day, it's like, do you think does that make it easier to date in a place like the theater? Or do you think it makes it more difficult? Like, is it because everyone's always moving around, everyone's very ambitious? It's like there's a lot of factors that go into it, I think.
Look, I'm not that guy.
Right.
I'm the chemist. I'm the puppeteer. I'm
Right.
the person who puts them together and hopes to hell something happens.
Right.
You have lived a life in which you have been the recipient of that
Right. Right.
and been dropped into hot fat
Hmm.
to see if you would sizzle or not,
Right.
you know. And so I do think that people who do this for a living have to learn how to protect themselves, because
Yeah.
I think sooner or later it happens.
Yeah. Well,
Sooner or
that's
later,
yeah.
you take the bait and you are screwed.
Yeah.
and it's over, and she leaves or he leaves or they find somebody else and you're heartbroken. So the next time you're not quite so available. Or
Yeah.
you learn how to do it, how to, forgive me, fake it.
Yeah. That's when it gets blurry though, man, where we're like, what, I mean, that's why I wanted to talk to you about it today, is it's such an interesting topic, I think, and to be someone with such a perspective. But you've dated people that, I mean, do you feel like you've been throughout your life have been naturally drawn to people that are artists? I mean, because I feel like when I've heard you tell me about some of your relationships, they've been people in the arts.
I usually not necessarily. I
Okay.
mean, first of all, those are the people you're around.
Right.
Because
Right.
you're with, attractive people whose feathers are all out there
Yeah.
because they're trying to make it work. And so you're seeing people in that inflated state a lot more often than people in a grocery store or a bank.
Yeah.
But I have been best, I think, when we are not in competition,
Yeah.
when we respect each other. They have a different world from mine. We dig each other's things. We think the other one is really terrific, but we're not sort of measuring each other or vying for each other. I think
Yeah.
that's tough with actors. It's got to be actors who are married together. And also careers, they flow. You're working, she's not. Oh, he's
Yeah.
taking care of the kids and he's pissed
Yeah.
because she's got a standing ovation every night.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
wonderful watching Lily and Hamish,
Yeah.
who are so smart and so intensely involved and so deeply committed to each other. But Lily's got this massive role, and he's playing a small character part. And he
Hmm.
reminds us every day, oh, he's hilarious. But he's
Yeah.
also giving me, in that corner of the play, a kind of gift and sophistication you never get
Yeah.
because he's there with Lily. So I got two for one.
Yeah. What a great situation, man.
Oh, unbelievable.
What a
Uh,
great situation.
and here at this point in my life, there's Lincoln Center giving me everything. There's these designers giving me everything. I've had a wonderful experience with this Irish writer, the translator Marco Rowe, who's directed his own work in Dublin, did this a year ago, and we've fallen for each other in a wonderfully creative, generous way. He wasn't supposed to come back. He's coming back and bringing his two kids
Oh
because
wow.
he's so in. And we've been zooming and changing words, and oh, it's just been bliss. It's been
Yeah.
wonderful.
Is there a moment in the play that you're most interested or excited to see how the audience reacts? Is there like or even is there a question mark around a moment where you're like, "Huh, I wonder how that'll land?" Like,
Here's the deal: having chosen to do it without intermission, it's not
yeah.
long. That means that there are two sections between Act One and Two, and Two and Three, where the action keeps going on. And the curtains come down and they go to their dressing rooms and they pee and fix their hair and come back. No, we keep going. So I had to invent a scenario that fills in the blanks
Yeah.
and then takes you from one emotional thing to the next. That's me working with my colleagues, talking to Ibsen, saying, what if I did this? And
Yeah.
I've made these incredible discoveries about the entire range that never occurred to me before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I cannot wait to see how that plays tonight.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, I can't wait to see how it plays tomorrow night
Me either.
when
Me
I get
either.
to check in. All right, Jack. Well, look, I know you got to go. I
I
think we're out
do.
of time for today. But what I'll say is, I'm so excited to see it tomorrow. Thank you again for your time. And then next time on episode 6, we'll jump back in and talk about it.
And the other thing is, it
Yeah.
just never occurred to me that you would be my Valentine.
Listen, what type of chocolate do you like? I gotta
How
know. You
how
want to
lucky?
know? Hey, you want to know my funniest Valentine story?
Yeah.
When I was 18 years old. All right, it was the first time I was like really into somebody. So I decided, and I've always been someone that kind of liked the idea of grand gestures, even if I felt silly doing. I like the idea of being the guy that would do them.
I get this.
So I skipped school when I was 18 years old, and I borrowed a knife from one of my friends, and I went to a public park and I carved our initials into a tree. And then I had a flower, a rose, and I stuck it to the tree. And then after school, she went to a different school. After school, I met her, and we were just going to go on a walk through the park, and we found it. All right, now here's the more right now. How I mean, that's
Oh, that is
right.
so cool.
Okay, now here's the moral of that story.
She didn't like you.
Well, a couple months later, she hooked up with a college lacrosse player, and that ended our relationship. But for the couple of months, it really worked out. So I think, like you said,
She had been touched. She had been touched beyond belief.
I honestly, this is probably speaks to my own narcissism. I remember a lot more about the idea of doing it and laughing with my friends than I do her reaction. And that's when I realized that I think sometimes these grand gestures are for me, not the person. And that's probably not the right way to do them, because I thought it was clever that I would do this. That's the wrong way to go about love. And I have since learned.
let's take it slow tomorrow, okay?
Okay. There's not any trees around Lincoln Center, is there?
No.
Okay. All right. Love you, Jack. I'll talk to you soon. Have a good show tonight.
Thank you.